Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And I have a video clip attached here which is very, very important, and I would like you to listen to it because it reflects the policy of the Loving Life channel. Now, I've noticed that since I put up a video which exposed the fake news of a few South African YouTubers regarding what happened in Senegal, that there are a few people now out there saying that I put out fake news. Okay, this is like payback. Now, I want to make it very clear once again to all my subscribers and to all the people who look at this video that yes, I do get things wrong from time to time. I do put something up there that turns out to be fake news. I think you could probably count the number of times in one hand since I started this channel. And seeing I've put out well over 6,000 videos, so yeah, that's 6,000 news videos about South Africa in the last few years, you start to understand why the number is completely insignificant. But when I do find that I've put out fake news, these are the steps I follow. 1, I take that video down straight away, which I do. And 2, I actually make mention in a later video that that video has been taken down because it's been found to be incorrect. This is a point of difference between the Loving Life channel and the other channel, most, I won't say all, but some of the other channels in South Africa. When they get it wrong, they just pretend it didn't happen. So look, that I'm just putting that out there because, as I say, this channel has put out over 6,000 videos, and the number of times we got it wrong, as I say, you can count in one hand. You do the math. Now, what I do with all the videos I get is I assess them, I try and find out the source. Where I get the source, I then check that. There's a lot of work that goes behind every video that I put up. Unlike what happened in Senegal. That was a 10-second grab, bang up onto Facebook, and it was completely distorted regarding the message. And if you want any evidence of that, just go and have a look at the older videos on this channel. I've got it all there. It's all there. Alright guys, that's the message on this video. Here comes the video where two very, very prominent YouTubers talk about exactly the same issue and say yes, they do exactly what I do because it builds trust with their subscribers. And that's what I do with my subscribers. They can be assured that 99.9% of the videos that I put out here are completely factual. And yes, there's straight shooting. Unlike the South African YouTubers, who have to be very careful what they say. Look what happened to Enka the other day when they broadcast that YouTube video on basically the coronavirus situation. They landed up having to pay a big fine, didn't they, to the Broadcasting Commission. And look, I'm going to say no more about this. Here comes that video. Please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. Ring the bell for the updates. Please like this video. Please share this video. And above all, please stay safe. Bye for now.
I am convinced that social media will be responsible for the downfall of this country. I swear it. It exacerbates most of our problems already, and the left-wing CEOs have the audacity to censor not just conservatives, but even the president. And it's time the rules have to change. There is a ton of flat-out fake news out there, and often it's hard to spot because we want to believe it. I saw a story about Sharpies being given to Trump voters because the ink would not register when counted. Now, I'm even having a hard time finding out what is fact and fiction surrounding that story. Even the local news had a hard time figuring it out. I don't think it's a real problem, but I don't trust the people telling me it's not a real problem either. So how do you spot the phony videos that are all going viral? How do you spot the rumors and lies designed to either misinform us or gin us up? Let's bring in our panel for some answers. Journalist Scarlett Horton and conservative activist, lawyer, and more importantly, the man known as DC Drano, Rogan O'Hanley. Welcome to the both of you. Rogan, I want to start with you. You've got millions of followers out there. I don't know if you're at 2 million or not yet. You post tons of stuff. I trust the stuff that you post. How do you sort through it so you're not pushing out something that's bogus?
Well, thank you for instilling that trust in me. I hold it very highly, and the reason it's there is because you've been following me for, at least 2 or 3 years, and you've seen consistently that the content I post is true. And sometimes it's a bit ahead of the curve, but what we have to do as social media figures is verify that the information is accurate. This is a wave of citizen journalism. It's similar to what Uber did to the taxi companies. We are doing to the major corporations. And frankly, the reason I have over 2.5 million followers is because people don't trust the news outside of Newsmax and One American News. And they're finding sources of information where you don't need the fancy production, you don't need the high-paid anchors, you just need someone that's going to tell you the common sense truth. And it's a very market-based approach. The more followers you have typically means more people trust you and you're more consistent. And I will say the one thing that I do that a lot of news organizations don't is I admit when I'm wrong. I really try to get it right. I usually am, but I will openly admit when I'm wrong, and that builds trust with your following.
Well, Rogan, you're just like me. I'm usually right, too. Every now and then we might get something wrong, but we're usually right. I know somebody else who's usually right because I follow her, too. That's Scarlett Horton. Scarlett, you, like me, had been in the media a long time. I tell people when it comes to news, just like social media, Rogan's onto something here. Find people you trust with a history, correct?
Absolutely. It's journalism 101 to make sure that you're getting sources of information that are true and factual. And that's what we have been doing for the past several days, weeks, and months during this election. You have so much information and misinformation out there right now. One of the things that you notice the news isn't doing is covering them. If you look at the Me Too movement and you take that for example, every single woman they accounted for. You have to hear this woman's voice. You have to listen to her. You can't discredit her at all. Well, why are they doing this with all of these other pieces of information that we have, that we're using, that we're trying to decipher, that we're trying to look into? As you mentioned earlier in your show, some of the machines that have been miscalculating votes. You have tons of videos coming in from people showing fraudulent activity that are happening at the polling sites. We've got dead voters happening, yet the media doesn't want to report all of these different pieces of a puzzle that you put together that spell fraud all over it. You have to use more than one piece of information as a journalist, and that's what we do here.
All right, so Rogan, to what Scarlett said, I've seen this, and we played at the beginning of the show. It looks like somebody's changing the ballots in these ballot counting centers. What do you see when you look at that video? How do you decide, is this legit? Is it from years ago? That's what I found. Some of them are from years ago, and they're being pushed off as they're from today. But it certainly is concerning, Rogan.
For every video I post, there's probably 10 videos that I didn't post that were sent to me by concerned Americans about the fraud that we're seeing. It's rampant. But what we will do once we verify it, once I can confirm that it's real news, is I will actually expose it. Most major media organizations, when you bring up voter fraud, discard it right off the top. They say, baseless claim, no evidence of voter fraud, and people say you're lying or you're willfully ignoring the tons of voter fraud that we're seeing on camera. And the American people aren't stupid. When you're boarding up windows, when you're preventing Trump campaign staff from going in and looking at just the simple counting of ballots, people know that only guilty people do that, people that are trying to hide something.
That's right. It's all about common sense. So, folks, you could start here. Go follow Scarlett Horton. Go follow Rogan, DC Drano. You're going to get the straight scoop from those people, and then see who they're following and retweeting, because they're a great source of information. Both of you, thank you so much for coming on the program. We got a big fight on social media ahead. I know both of you will be waging it for us. Next on Stinchfield.
you.